I had woken up early that morning. I had some eggs, and I realised that I was running out of food. Maybe I should have taken this month to find another job. I entered my room cautiously, wanting to not make my presence known. I opened my drawer to realise that the book and key were gone. I opened the other drawers, but to my horror, the book had melted through the floor without me noticing it. I ran downstairs, and I had missed a large hole in my floor. I peered into the hole, and it was burning through the concrete in my basement. I had to be quick to get the book. I ran into the basement, and the book was sizzling through the concrete floor. I rushed to it, but realised I didn't have my protective gloves. That didn't matter to me at the time. I could not let the book and the key escape. I reached my hand into the burning concrete and felt a searing pain throughout my whole body. I kept reaching farther down. I ran my fingers down, trying to get it over with, but the hole was getting deeper by the second. Half of my arm was in the hole now. My brain screamed at me to stop, but I pushed on. Now almost my entire arm reached into the hole. It seemed hopeless, but I felt the texture of the book. I reached farther, my entire arm reaching into the hole, but it was not enough. I kept pushing, trying my best to reach just a little further down before it was too late. My burning arm stretches and grasped at the edges of the book. I yelled out in pain as the burning sensation felt similar to being set on fire. Tears streamed down my eyes as I kept reaching, hoping against hope that it would reach far enough, and it wasn't for nothing. Suddenly, the hole started sucking me into it. At first, I thought my brain was just imagining things because of the extreme pain I was in, but no. The hole was starting to suck me into it at an alarming rate. I screamed for help, but nobody heard me. I didn't care about the book or the key anymore. Now it was a fight for survival. I pulled and tugged, but the hole was tightening and constraining my arm, along with tugging me deeper into the burning concrete. It was a trap, and I fell for it. My shoulder was no longer visible, and I no longer could feel my lower arm. Tears streamed down my face as my voice was tired from screaming. I closed my eyes, accepting my fate. My entire life was flashing before my eyes. People I knew and loved, and places I'd been, and dreams from the past. I winced as the blinding lights confused me. Was I in heaven? No, I was not in heaven. I was in the hospital. I went to get up and used my right arm to sustain myself, but I cried out in anguish as my arm screamed at me to go back into a more comfortable position. I felt a familiar book in my hand, which was now slightly burned, and to my shock, the key was nowhere to be seen. Was it all a dream? A hallucination? I thought to myself as a nurse walked in. She looked to be in her late 20s, blonde hair and green eyes. She wore a nurse's outfit, obviously, along with glasses that were a bit big on her. She had a seashell necklace and wore tight black shoes. She had freckles and had this warm smile. "Sir, you're awake," she announced. "I'm aware," I said, annoyed. "How are you feeling?" she asked, ignoring my tone. "I'm fine," I said quickly, wanting to end this conversation. "Well, we found you having a seizure in your basement, and your arm in the furnace," she said sullenly. "So, it was a dream?" I asked. "What dream?" she asked, clearly intrigued. "Nothing," I said, looking away. She stared at me, waiting for an answer. I didn't elaborate. "Well, we found traces of metal all the way from your fingers to your shoulder. We can remove it, but it's pricey, and it doesn't seem to be affecting anything right now," she said, reading off a clipboard. It took me a couple of seconds to register what this meant. I turned pale and stared at my hand, which was now housing the key. "Are you okay, Kyle?" she asked. "How do you know my name?" I asked quickly, but pretty loudly. "You don't need to shout at me. It's on your medical papers. Do you go by a different name than your birth certificate?" she asked. "What? No, I just... Never mind," I sighed. "I'm Emily Michonne," she said, extending her arm to shake with my right hand, but then she quickly stopped, realising that my arm was injured. "Sorry," she said awkwardly. "It's fine," I sighed. "So, what's with the book in your hand? You held it tightly all the way here," she said, raising an eyebrow at me. "Look, If I tell you what's going on, you can't tell anyone else, I said, wanting to tell someone my troubles, other than online, but also not wanting to get sent to the mental hospital. Not even the doctor treating you? She asked. Nobody, I said flatly. Fine, go ahead, she said, rolling her eyes but listening in. This book I'm holding, it's cursed or something. It's been terrorizing me for about a month, I started. Go on, she said, seemingly interested. I was a therapist, and I got the book from one of my patients before he went crazy, I said. How long did they have the book? She asked. A week, I said grimly. So, how do you know you're not crazy too? She pondered. I honestly don't know, I sighed. Well, go on, she said, taking a seat in one of the stools, her blonde hair swaying in the small breeze from the open window. I had the book for a couple of days, but one of my co-workers had the key, which is now in my arm, I said. Wait, so the metal is the key to the book? She asked, surprised. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I confessed. So, anyway, the key had told my co-worker to steal the book I had and, well, I started again. He broke into your house? She asked, appalled. Yeah, and he tried killing me too, I went on. And then I had the key and book for almost a month, I finished. Why didn't you open it? She asked. I don't know. It just had this energy coming from it. Also, it was slowly burning through the dresser drawer I was keeping it in. I eventually wanted to try communicating to the book and key, but I guess I had some hallucination, because the book didn't make a hole in my basement like I dreamed, I rumbled. There was, she said. Wait, but you said I had a seizure, I asked. I did, but there was also this hole in the floor. The police said it was probably some miniature sinkhole, she confessed. Sinkhole? It's concrete, I exclaimed. She shrugged and turned to look at my arm. Should I take the bandages off? I asked, yawning. No, you've got to wait 10 days before it's safe to do so, she said quickly. I sighed and waited as 10 days passed by. Not much happened at that time, but I was unable to tell people what was happening online. I shared more info with Emily Michonne, and we eventually became friends. At the end of the 10 days, me and Emily uncovered the bandages to a burned arm, hand and shoulder. I could finally move it without pain, but it still stung from time to time. What I didn't tell Emily was that during the 10 days, the key was talking to me through my head, telling me horrible things, like how it would kill Emily and everyone I knew. I mostly ignored the key, but I snapped it a couple of times, and it revealed to me its name, Gorgon or Itero. I didn't think a key would have a name, but at this point, the key wasn't really a key anymore, to me. It was a pest. I got Emily's phone number so we could keep in touch, and we texted each other as I drove home. She arranged to meet up a week from now, since she had to attend her sister's wedding, but after that, she would be able to help me with my problem. I feel like there might be hope for me yet, but I don't have enough money to remove the key from my arm, and I doubt it will leave my arm unless it's forced to. I don't know if I can handle its insane rambling much longer. I also got mail from George Rintoro. It asked to meet up again, as he had some good news to share with me. I'll try to report back to you all soon.